It is Sunday, July 17th, 2022, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofatime, we're talking about strange things happening in airports. I feel so misleading right now because it is not Sunday the 17th and I'm not in front of the sofa. It's actually the 16th. I've been awake since the 15th. I'm currently flying from my home in Minnesota, Minneapolis, through Amsterdam to my current home in Hamburg, Germany. If you've been following these videos, you know I was worried about my flight home. In my original itinerary, I only had an hour. Actually, I had 55 minutes to transfer, and I was sure it wasn't gonna work. Oh, I just got a thing here saying, "Hi Morgan, upgrade your flight." Wow, I'll have to check that out. Anyways, I was worried I wasn't gonna make the flight, so I went through a lot of struggles to get transferred to a later flight, so I had more time to transfer. Then when I landed today, I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna see if I would have made it. So I walked to the gate of the flight that I was supposed to be on, and I made it in plenty of time. Somehow the stars aligned. There was no line. Well, there was a very small line at the Customs and Immigration, which was what I was the most worried about. I made it to the gate. I asked if I could still fly, even though I had transferred my ticket, and they said, no. So now I am here in the Amsterdam airport with 4 hours before my next flight. And when I'm traveling alone, which I do quite often, I do a lot of people watching. And so on my quest to bring you entertaining travel-related content every week, even when I'm not in front of the red sofa, I want to go through a list of things that I've seen within the last 24 hours inside airports.
That's what I get for leaning into the best friend. Now I've got one more accent, two less hands here for holding.
Some of these things are strange, curious, annoying, and one of them was something that really impressed me, so make sure you stick around for that. Starting with a huge group of kids sitting on the ground blocking the check-in area. This was just a strange situation, a strange thing to be greeted with. As soon as I got to the airport, there was a line for the check-in at the moment, at least for the flight I was on. Nobody could do online check-in. Everybody has to show up at the counter and show their documents, and there was a group of, I don't know, maybe it was like a high school class or something. Well, actually, they didn't even look old enough to be in high school. They were maybe like junior high age kids, let's say probably between 15 and 20 of them, and their teacher or the chaperones or whatever were checking them in, and they were all just sitting on the ground in a big group. And it just seemed weird to me to see a bunch of kids sitting between like the line and the counter. And another thing I want to say is to the people who are chaperoning a group of kids on an international trip right now,
bless your heart.
I would not have the patience to do something like that right now. Traveling at the moment, even when I'm traveling just with myself, is stressful and annoying, and to be responsible for a bunch of younger people who are not only probably not experienced travelers, but also teenagers. Teenagers can be difficult. So to the people who are doing that right now, I hope you're getting paid a lot of money, and I hope you are feeling a lot of rewarding feelings for doing that. Another interesting thing I have seen today, I say today, even though it was yesterday, the jet lag is perhaps setting in, was a guy in the Minneapolis airport bathroom standing at the urinal with one hand on his junk, and with his other hand he was drinking a beer. I guess that's the way to get the vacation started early. But the last thing I want to be doing in an airport bathroom right now is consuming any kind of food or beverage. Gross. Speaking of bathrooms, I managed to snag the bulkhead seat again. So the setup was 2-4-2, and I was in seat 31B. If you travel a lot, you might know what that means, but that means that there was no seat in front of me. So it's kind of like, in a way, a free upgrade. And from where I was sitting, I had a clear view of the toilets in the plane. And I'm just so surprised at how many people don't understand about when the door is locked, that the thing turns red, and when it's not locked, it's green. How many people walk up to the bathroom and it's red and they're still pushing on the door, trying to figure out why it won't open? Is this not something that's universal, that when there's a red thing next to the handle on the door, that means locked. By the way, if you're new here, we do talk about bathrooms a lot. The next thing I saw that just surprised me is I've seen people with these like clips for their cell phones on their belt. So their cell phone is like hanging off of their belt. But today I saw a guy with an entire full-size iPad clipped to his belt. And this wasn't somebody like working in the airport. It was a traveler. So I guess wearing an iPad on your belt is a thing now. I don't understand why that would be more convenient with it like flopping around the whole time. Why is that more convenient than just putting it in your backpack? If you are an iPad belt wearer, please explain to me in the comments below. Another thing I saw just recently here in the Amsterdam airport this morning was this poor woman with her carry-on rolly bag. I'm sure there's a better name for that, but she had a small carry-on bag that rolls, but the handle had broken off. So she had like this, U-shaped metal thing in her hand and the bag in the other hand. But instead of carrying the bag, she was bending over in a really uncomfortable position to still roll it on the ground. And I don't understand why she didn't just carry it unless it was really heavy. But I felt sorry for her carrying this broken part of her bag in the one hand and then bending way over to keep the wheels on the ground in the other hand. The things we do to travel nowadays. Another thing that I don't quite understand, I just don't get, is people who travel in any kind of shoe situation where they're not wearing socks, because at the moment, most of the times when you go through security in the airport, you have to take off your shoes. And then you have to walk through this section where thousands of people walk every day without shoes on, and I just don't want to have my bare feet there. No. And like I said, where I was sitting in my flight from Minneapolis to Amsterdam today, I was sitting right by the bathrooms, and I was surprised at how many people went into the bathrooms with their shoes off, and some of them had also no socks. And I don't know, am I just overly paranoid about germs, or are there just some people who don't think about that at all? All right, I've got 3 more weird, funny, impressing things to let you know about. Oh, somebody's coming in here. I want to show you the area I am right now. Like, I think it's a gate actually, and somebody's face just appeared here in this window, so I don't know if there's a flight showing up. This is the view in front of me. I tried to pick just find a really quiet part of the airport where I wasn't going to disturb anybody. And that brings me to my next point. There was a guy in one of like the coffee shops this morning in Minneapolis. There were a lot of people around in this coffee shop. Like just about every seat was full. And I think he was giving a lecture. He may have been a professor or something, or maybe he was doing some kind of speech or a sales pitch. He was talking about how certain factors can affect the amount of lactation from dairy cows, but he was doing it, he wasn't having a conversation with somebody, he was just talking and talking and talking and talking, and at a volume level that everyone around could hear what he was talking about. And that seemed weird to me. I mean, I'm in the Amsterdam airport right now, which is crazy chaotic, and I still managed to find a little corner here where I'm not going to be bugging anybody by talking to all of you. This guy did not care. He was in the middle of a crowded place talking very loud and basically like giving a speech. Please don't be that person. Another thing I saw today, which is something I don't remember ever seeing, is police waiting at the gate of a flight that was arriving. I don't know what was going on. It was one police officer like in a police uniform, and then 2 plainclothes police officers like with their badges on their belts. Speaking of things hanging off of belts, it wasn't at my gate, but when I saw it, I had so much time, I thought, I'm gonna sit down here and see what happens. And then as I was waiting for it to happen, I thought, wait a second, if they need 3 police officers here for some situation, maybe I don't want to be here when it happens. So I don't know what happened, but there were police in the airport today waiting for some passenger to disembark a flight from, I think it was from North Carolina. Before I get to the final thing that I want to tell you about that I saw today that was actually kind of impressive, please let me know some funny, interesting, annoying, or impressive things that you have seen in airports within the last couple of weeks. Like I said, traveling at the moment is extremely stressful. Things are overcrowded, lots of flights being canceled and delayed, things going wrong all over the place. But this morning in the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, in the security check, I saw a family, mom, dad, and 2 boys. I mean, I'm assuming they were a family. These boys were maybe 7 and 11 years old, and traveling with kids can be really stressful, especially if you've had to wake them up early in the morning and they're crabby and maybe they haven't had any breakfast. But this family, these 2 little boys, they were so well prepared. They were so organized. They all had their carry-ons in a row. The boys were standing there with their little backpacks. They had their iPads in their hand. When they got to the belt, they knew exactly what had to go in what thing. They were like little kid professional travelers, so much more prepared than probably 80% of everybody else in this security line. You know, the people who wait there in the line staring at people doing what they're gonna have to do in 15 minutes when it's their turn to get up there. And then when they get up there, that's when they start taking out their devices. That's when they take off their belt. That's when they take off their jacket. Even though they've been waiting there in line with nothing else to do for the last 15 minutes. These little kids were organized, and I just thought that was a nice thing to see. If I had a family, we'd probably be like that too. All right, I'm gonna head through the chaos of this airport to my gate. Maybe sit down there for about 45 minutes until hopefully my flight will board on time, and then I will be back in Hamburg, Germany. Thanks for spending this part of your Sunday, or whatever day it was, with me. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I will see you soon.